Good morning. This is Tony Datino on Labor Day, September the 1st. It's like, wow, September 1st, Labor Day. Why don't we give it an extra week and make it Labor Day, September 8th? But in any case, it seems weird that the weekend was an August weekend with Labor Day on Monday. And we're still doing the memory class today, so I'll be going over to see how our seniors are doing, people that are in that workshop and family members and how they've spent their weekend. But I wanted to talk today about a piece of an article in the August issue of Psychology Today. And as I was reading it, they had a really excellent article. Now let's see if I can get this over here. 30 mental health tune-ups. And I just thought it was a superb article. And one of the topics they had covered reminds me of GIGG. And say, what is GIGG? And one that needs to stop and think about, what are the thoughts that we ruminate about? What are the thoughts that are constantly going on in our mind? And our GIGG in our mind is to recognize that we have this infinite capacity to create and think. We have a synergy of thought. 1 + 1 in the brain is infinite because our brain has infinite capacity to think. And so something I learned years ago from Tony Buzan was the synergy of your thinking basically helps you to create your life. It actually makes me think about a TV program watching last night on 60 Minutes. It talked about the school that has these kids that come to high school knowing that they're going to be terrific. There's something that's going to happen in their life that's going to be terrific, and they just have to have the right rumination, the right mental attitudes. And these two girls that came up and broke the theorem, and how successful they were in doing this math theorem. So it brought me back to our self-talk. So what is our self-talk? So when you step back and think about your self-talk, your GIGG is garbage in to a brain in terms of what you're taking in, what your thoughts and ruminating about. Garbage will grow. You say, wait a minute, I have an infinite thinking capacity, so you have to realize you have infinite thinking. Your biology will tell you you have an infinite thinking capacity. So then you have to step and think about, first of all, what are you taking into your brain? And then what are you ruminating about in terms of your self-talk? So as you take information in from things you see, the news you listen to, people you talk to, social interactions that you have, reading material, newspapers, magazines, TV shows, as you're inputting that in, you're then ruminating on that. Your self-talk is on the way. And when you input it into your brain, garbage into a brain that has infinite capacity, garbage will grow. So I ask people, what is your GIGG? So the first thing is garbage in, garbage will grow. So what's the first thing you're inputting into your brain? Is it good or is it garbage? Because we have the capacity to reflect on our ruminations and decide, okay, are we being too critical? Are we taking the things that we're hearing in and we're ruminating on it, we're building on those, and with the brain synergy of building within its own thinking builds a garbage dump? Or are we being more reflective on the things we're bringing in and being more cautious on our inputs that then create self-talk that is positive, that's more of a, boy, look at what we can do, look at what we can accomplish, look at what I can do, look at what we accomplish. And so how do we impact and move forward in our lives by taking the things we see, hear, and are part of every day and bringing them into a self-talk that is not always self-critical or my goodness, the world is terrible, the world is awful, and everything is just not going to work. So how do we recognize our GIGG? Is it garbage in, garbage grows? are we going to take good in, good grow, and regardless of what we're inputting, how do we ruminate on that? How do we then take it and build within the synergy of our own thought process? And are we just being totally negative, and therefore anything we take in, we're just going to take down into a negative thing? Or are we taking things in that might be good or even great? So greatness in, greatness will grow. Why not? So let's step back and think about, can we be kinder to ourselves? Can we be kinder to the world around us? Can we be a little softer in how we see things about us, and how we then input those into our brain and flip the switch to say, well, let me look at the good that comes out of these things, the learning experiences we have, the opportunities we have to make a difference. So let me try to take the things that are being input into my brain, and let me flip the switch from garbage to good in some capacity. And as you build that, I guess you have to recognize some of the wins. One of the challenges of rumination is it's hard to turn the negative off, and so we may build up an anxiety, or we may build up a stress about it, but a strategy that grounds you in the present, you need to stop the looping. Come up with actions that you've taken that are good, things that you can make a difference with, things that you hear or feel or engage in. Just, wow, let me think of some of the good things that I did. Let me think of some of the positive outcomes that I've been a part of. Let me see something that was good that somebody did. Maybe it's a friend that you can call and say, hey, tell me something that was good. Or it's a life partner that you've got. Maybe it's some children you can ask what was some good. So it was interesting. I was at our community pool yesterday, and as I was talking to some people, I was asking them, so what were some of the good things that you're learning in your swimming lessons? What are some of the positive things that you get from coming to the pool on Sunday mornings and learning how to swim? And, you know, a young boy looked at me like, where's this guy coming from? And so he finally looked at it, he says, well, I like being able to jump in. I like being able to swim in the pool when, it's not part of the lesson. So I'm learning how to swim, but I enjoy swimming when I'm not in a lesson. So it was an interesting reflection, but I love jumping into the pool. I love when the instructor spins me around in a circle. So there's something positive that we can find in just about anything if we just recognize what our rumination is and how we can change the inputs that we have coming into our brain, and be it the news, the conversations we have, that aren't so critical about everything. And so I think the word here is we can be critical about just about everything, and not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to match exactly what we would like it to be. So maybe what we need to do is step back and just reflect on things in a little different perspective, and be sensitive of first, what are we putting into that first position, G? Is it good or is it garbage? And then how do we take the good in and grow? So good in, good grows. And how do we build that into a positive way? And so let's reflect on the synergy, and let's recognize that a good in is going to good grow and change our synergy of thought that we ruminate about. And I say to people, so what do you have to lose? I mean, if you're in a down spiral right now, see if you can find something positive. And by the way, I accept things happen in life. Things we think about and we self-talk about can be self-critical, and that's how we reflect on things we need to improve. But keep that in the way of, okay, there's something I need to improve on. Let me figure out how to do that. And as we have this day off today to reflect on things and go about our day and hopefully find some joy in the work we do and some happiness that we have in our lives, let that work for the first of the day of September. Let's give it a month and see where we are at the 1st of October and see if it makes a difference. And I'm off to the memory class, and we'll see you on Wednesday.